Welcome to Charts Today. My name is David Linton, and today's edition for Wednesday, the 14th of February, comes to you from London. And we start by looking at the dollar. Dollar still sinking lower here on this chart, so we are just seeing the dollar coming under pressure. Bearish pretty well on all three time frames now, on all charts, both point and figure and Ichimoku charts. So the dollar is just progressively weaker, and that stronger euro now really showing through. So again, strong on all three charts. A massive upside target here to $1.58. So that's a 27% increase in the long term, and so that it's just hard to imagine what that actually means. Looking at the Japanese yen, we see the dollar sinking lower here as well, and against sterling, we see the dollar. Sterling just rising a bit, reflecting that weaker dollar. But against the euro, sterling is just on the verge of activating a downside target to 107, which is about 4% downside. We are just teetering along here, looking set to make 3-month lows on sterling, and of course bearish on the long-term chart still. Against the Swiss franc, we're bearish with downside targets of around 2 and 4%. Against the Australian dollar, we're below the cloud as well. Bitcoin is up this morning, up 3.4%. Just struggling to break this $9,000 level. If we can, we are just activating on the 0.5% chart this upside target of $13,300. We'll need to hang on to these levels today for that activation to stick. And of course, on the 1% chart, we need a little bit more than that. Right on the cloud here for Bitcoin, but we do have this upside target activated for 8%, so that's quite key. Looking at the S&P 500 index, a very clear bounce here on the cloud, so that's looking quite positive. And the Nasdaq also doing much the same thing. So all these markets seemingly finding support on the daily cloud. The Dow, much the same picture. Interestingly, we are just seeing these short-term targets now activated. I tweeted this yesterday, up 11% here on the Nasdaq now. So it does look like a recovery is quite conceivable. And looking here, we're seeing the Russell 2000 also just finding some support on the cloud. The S&P future up 0.5% this morning through the cloud here, now bullish on the short term with an upside target of 5.7%. So it looks like the US market will open higher. Nasdaq E-mini target of 6% and bullish through the cloud as well. So it does look like we'll open higher. Does look like a recovery now. The key thing is, can we go on to make a higher high? If we make a lower low and then come below this low, that will be the first signs of a bear market. The FTSE up 0.6% this morning, so coming off its low of 7,100. Still bearish in the short term, so not looking as good as the US market still. And of course, that medium-term chart has masses to do. We do have a downside target activated here on the medium-term chart of 15% downside. The S&P the FTSE 250 also bearish below the cloud. Downside targets here, and the medium-term 14% downside. So the UK market not looking good at all, really. And the German DAX also lower, so that's quite frustrating. The Nikkei is heading below the cloud, and this is really significant now for the Nikkei. We need a very sharp V-shaped recovery for this lagging line to get back above the cloud, but it's looking like it's not going to. And we've got 6% downside, so the medium term might be changing for the Nikkei. The Hang Seng has bounced on the cloud, so that's looking better. Shanghai is still bearish below the cloud on the medium term chart. The point and figure charts do point to Shanghai recovering. The Indian market, the Sensex, definitely a bounce there on the cloud, so looking strong. And the Australian market just really toying with the cloud at the moment, so we need a sharp recovery here as well. Brent crude down very slightly this morning, but $62.67 at the moment. Still bearish below the cloud on the short-term chart. Very clear trend that's been going on for some time. We may find support on the medium-term chart. We do have a new upside target, but it's not yet activated to $64, which is about 2.7% higher. WTI is also bearish below the cloud, and we're seeing here some upside potential there as well, but we need to move higher to activate that. US Natgas sitting at $2.59, still very bearish below the cloud, and taking out this low, which is quite significant. So Natgas now just starting to look at nearly 2-year lows, certainly 18 months, 20-month lows. Copper is bullish above the cloud, so looking a bit better there. Heating oil following pretty much crude oil as we'd expect. Coffee is bouncing a bit higher on the cloud, and cocoa also just recovering slightly, but still bearish below the cloud. If I go straight to gold, gold is bullish on the short term. We've got this target of 1343, so gold looking bullish on all three charts, in the long, medium, and short term, and we're seeing much the same on the point and figure charts. So gold is looking increasingly like it's going to move. Silver also looking solid on the short term. The medium term not quite as clear as gold, nor as the long term, but it's looking better with this upside potential of about 2.5%. US Treasury yields have pulled right back to 2.62% on the 2.82% on the 10-year bond. We do have a downside target of 2.76, but these upside targets are now fairly firmly established, and quite a trend we're seeing here in bond yields. Apple yesterday recovered very strongly, and we're seeing this upside target now 15% activated to $190. But the medium term, we've got some turmoil here. We're still not above the cloud, and we do have this downside target hanging over us on both the long and medium term charts of about 26% downside. So a very mixed picture there for Apple, one to watch. Google, not looking as bad, but still needs to get through the cloud in the short term, and the medium term is bullish. Amazon, stronger still, looking through it like it will go through the cloud probably today. Price is just coming through now. And Facebook, bearish below the cloud, and the medium term actually looking a little bit worrying on the cloud there with a downside target of some 7%. And that reminds me, keep an eye out on my tweets throughout the day. I tweeted last night on Facebook. Has Facebook fallen out of favor? You'll find me tweeting throughout the day as I see things. So lots of things there to follow. Just keep an eye out on my Twitter handle, which is @chartstoday. That's it for today. Until tomorrow, happy charting. See you then.